Coming to you live from Angkasa Puri, you're watching Updates at Noon with me, Renee Fong. And making the headlines today, Tourism Recovery Framework aims over 11 billion ringgit of income. Direct cash aid to alleviate burden against rising cost of living. The government aims to generate an income of 11.1 billion ringgit for the tourism industry, with a total of 4.5 million tourist arrivals this year through the implementation of the Tourism Recovery Framework TRF 2.0. Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri, said the revised target was based on positive indications involving the arrival of 2.3 million tourists in the country within the last 3 months. Commenting further, Datuk Sri Nancy said to achieve the optimistic target, TRF 2.0 would focus on smart international and national collaborations as well as the local community empowerment agenda in facing the uncertainties of the tourism industry in the future. The strategic framework outlines 5 pillars of the tourism strategy, namely supporting the restoration of tourism and culture businesses, restoring tourist confidence and having smooth international and intra-regional travel, reinventing tourism and cultural products or services to drive competitiveness, aligning tourism with sustainability and inclusiveness, and strengthening recovery with long-term resilience and crisis preparedness, she said. As of last month, the minister said the ministry had channeled 23.8 million ringgit in financial assistance to 15,000 tour operators, while 4.73 million ringgit worth of vouchers had been redeemed for the purchase of craft products, visual arts and books, and another 2.35 million ringgit worth of vouchers offered for travel packages and land transport. The Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industries, MAFI, will put forward the proposal by the National Fishermen's Association, NECMAT, to reconsider the petrol subsidy provision for C2 class fishing vessels. Its Minister, Datuk Sri Dr. Ronald Kandi, said the fuel subsidy for C2 class boats ended in 2019, and to date, only Class A, B and C fishing boats are still receiving subsidies from the government. The minister said his ministry is aware of the request from about 500 C2 class fish boat operators in the country to reinstate the petrol subsidy.
Dan kita akan bawa ini dalam meja perbincangan dengan kerajaan, pelbagai kementerian, termasuk Kementerian Kewangan dan sebagainya.
Previously, NECMAT Chairman Hamid Bahari had urged the government to reconsider giving fuel subsidies to C2 class fishing vessels, as they are the largest contributors to the fish industry in the country compared to the lower class boats that are enjoying the privilege. Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Dr. Ronald said the price of fish sold in the country depends on the quantity of fish supply obtained, and thus there was no control over fish prices set by the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, KPD and HEP. However, MAFI will ensure that the fish supply is sufficient and continuously monitor the price of fish in the market. He also advised fishermen to use permitted equipment to catch fish. Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs KPD and HEP Minister Datuk Sri Alexander Nantalinggi has announced that to help Malaysians cope with the rising cost of living, the government would be providing direct cash assistance to those in need, and that details would be provided by the Finance Ministry soon.
Golongan yang memerlukan juga akan dibantu nanti ya dengan wang tunai secara bersasar. Lebih berkenaan dengan isu ini, biarlah saya letak kepada Kementerian Kewangan lah untuk memberi perincian bagaimana saluran kewangan ini, bantuan ini akan dibuat.
The minister said that based on his dialogue with industry players yesterday, there had been proposals made to the ministry to improve consumer awareness and encourage a lifestyle change to help deal with the rise in living costs. Datuk Sri Nanta added that the issue of manpower shortage continued to plague many industries, especially the distribution sector, resulting in an increase in operational costs. The Federal Territories Ministry through the Kuala Lumpur City Hall DBKL has banned heavy vehicles exceeding 7.5 tonnes from entering the city centre with immediate effect. Its Deputy Minister Datuk Sri Jalaluddin Alia said the enforcement measure was decided yesterday by a special committee looking into solutions regarding the methods and actions to disperse traffic congestion in the capital city. He said that any heavy vehicle found entering the capital at peak hours will be subject to action under Section 79 of the Road Transport Act 1987 by the police and the Road Transport Department (JPJ). He also said those who violate this ban will be subject to mandatory compounds, and JPJ will take a tough stance by not considering any appeals they might submit. Congestion in the city was also found to be due to a 45% increase in the number of vehicles after the easing of the movement control order since August last year, with 46.76 million recorded in December 2021 compared to 26.51 million in December 2019. The committee has also decided to ban vehicles from parking on the curbs during peak hours and will be phasing up parking spots at major roads in stages. Datuk Sri Jalaluddin added that they are banning traders from conducting business on pavements during peak hours and will phase out trading spots in stages on pavements of major roads. The Malaysian economy is doing reasonably well in the face of global challenges. According to World Bank Group lead economist for Malaysia, Dr. Apurva Sanghi said the World Bank is forecasting Malaysia's economy to grow 5.5% this year, higher than the global growth of 2.9% and regional growth of 4.4% after analysing the country's economy from three lenses, namely macro, meso and micro. Dr. Apurva said Malaysia is doing reasonably well even with the impact of the pandemic compounded by the war in Ukraine, Chinese lockdowns, rising interest rates and fears of stagflation, low growth, high inflation and many other uncertainty. He also noted that consumer spending is gradually recovering, as is job creation, which is gradually improving. Moving on to the meso lens, he said that according to a World Bank survey, businesses in Malaysia are gradually increasing sales to pre-COVID-19 levels, thanks to the government's assistance during the pandemic. He went on to say that high commodity prices benefit Malaysia because the country exports commodities such as palm oil, liquefied natural gas and petroleum, which account for 80% of all commodities. On areas for improvement, Dr. Apurva said, despite the excellent strategies and policies, Malaysia needs to focus on more beneficial implementations. Still to come, Petaling water disruption ends. Stay tuned. Water supply in all 47 areas in Petaling affected by water supply disruption due to upgrading works of the water supply system at the Bukit Dengkil Reservoir yesterday was fully restored at 7 a.m. today. Pengurusan Air Selangor Sdn Bhd Air Selangor Corporate Communication Head Elina Basri in a statement thanks consumers for their patience and cooperation throughout the duration of the water supply disruption. She said that consumers are advised to obtain official information on water supply disruptions through all official communication channels of Air Selangor, namely the Air Selangor application, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and www.airselangor.com. She said any queries and complaints can be submitted at 15300 or the help centre in the Air Selangor application. Yesterday it was reported that some 47 areas in Petaling experienced water supply disruption for up to 24 hours due to upgrading works of the water supply system at the Bukit Dengkil Reservoir. A 3-year-old boy who remains in critical condition due to drugs in his body may have accidentally ingested drugs in the car belonging to his mother's cousin while they were at a known drug haunt on Monday afternoon. Kelantan Acting Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Zaki Harun said the car, which is owned by the victim's mother's cousin, aged 30, had been seized for further investigation. Elaborating further, Datuk Muhammad Zaki said the forensics team will conduct further investigations into the Proton saga owned by the suspect. He said this after visiting the boy, who is currently being treated at the Raja Perempuan Zainab II Hospital in Kota Baru yesterday. Media outlets reported that the boy, who lives in Kampung Seri Bintang, Kuala Krai, was still in critical condition after doctors found drugs in his system. Datuk Muhammad Zaki said the police launched a special operation in the vicinity of Kampung Seri Bintang at around midnight following the incident, arresting 9 individuals and seizing 102 pills. He said what happened to the boy was a tragedy, and the police discovered that the family was facing hard time as the boy's mother was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. The State Acting Police Chief further reminded parents to always monitor their children. Malaysia has become the first country to obtain a permit to operate a hospital for the Hajj season. The Malaysian Hajj delegation head, Datuk Sri Syed Saleh Abdul Rahman, said that compared to other countries, Malaysia's efficiency was always recognised by the Ministry of Health of Saudi Arabia, and they were also aware that Lembaga Tabung Haji TH staff would comply with the stipulated rules and conditions. Elaborating further on the matter, Datuk Sri Syed Saleh said a handover ceremony for the permit issued was held last week, and it was attended by representatives from the Ministry of Health Malaysia MOH. He said this proves the commitment and efficient work of the MOH and the medical staff, and also at the same time, this also shows that TH and MOH always prioritise the care of pilgrims' health in the Holy Land. He also said Malaysia has fulfilled all the conditions set, including in terms of building equipment, waste disposal system and the number of staff. Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Syed Saleh also advised Malaysian pilgrims not to force themselves to take part in activities that could affect their health, especially when Wukuf Day is around the corner. He added that the dry spell with a temperature of up to 50 degrees Celsius would make it easier for pilgrims to fall sick. The number of COVID-19 cases in the country is expected to fluctuate, and a potential new infection wave might emerge in the next few months, despite the current situation being under control. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said this is based on the epidemiological developments in other countries. Following the projection, Khairi encouraged high-risk individuals to be inoculated with the 4th COVID-19 vaccine shot. This includes senior citizens and individuals with chronic conditions.
Kita tahu walaupun kes COVID-19 sekarang ini terkawal, tetapi seperti mana yang saya telah maklumkan berkali-kali, kes ini akan pasang surut. Dia akan ada gelombang yang akan datang dari masa ke semasa. Dan mungkin dalam 2-3 bulan lagi kita akan mengalami ataupun dalam masa 2-3 bulan lagi kita akan mengalami gelombang baru. Sejauh mana gelombang itu ataupun sebesar mana gelombang itu kita tak tahu lagi.
A total of 107,844 individuals aged 12 years old and above have received their second booster jab as of yesterday. Out of the total, 57,834 were individuals aged 60 and above. Khairi said the ministry did not receive any reports of severe side effects following the implementation of the second booster shot. Malaysia's top badminton men's doubles pair, Aaron Chia and Saw Wei Yik, are aiming to win the first international championship at the Malaysia Open 2022, scheduled to be held at Axiata Arena in Bukit Jalil from 28th June to 3rd July. The world's 6th-ranked pair, who ended Malaysia's 16-year drought by winning the men's doubles gold medal at the 2019 SEA Games in the Philippines, are now busy planning the best strategy to realise the dream in front of home supporters. Playing on home ground, the 25-year-old said they hoped for support from badminton fans in the country as motivation to put on an excellent performance at the tournament. In fact, Aaron admitted that he was excited to make an appearance at the Malaysia Open after the prestigious tournament had not been held for 2 years following the COVID-19 pandemic. He also expressed hope to make up for the defeat in the second round of the Danish Open last year at the hands of Akira Koga Taichi Saito from Japan in the upcoming Malaysia Open. According to him, the duo, who bagged the bronze medal at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, will remain focused and continue to listen to the advice given by Badminton Association of Malaysia BAM Doubles Coaching Director Rexy Mainaki in achieving the best performance. Meanwhile, he said they were still in the process of recovering from food poisoning when participating in the Indonesia Masters 2022 last week. Last Saturday, Aaron Woyik lost in the semi-finals of the Indonesia Masters at the hands of Chinese pair Liu Yuchen Oh Xuanyi 21-18, 21-13. 2 friendly matches against Bangladesh's women's squad would be the ground to select the top 11 of the Malayan Tigers ahead of the 2022 ASEAN Women's Football Federation AFF Championship in Binan City, Manila, Philippines from 4th to 17th July. Head coach Jacob Joseph said the 2 Tier 1 friendly matches on 23rd and 26th June respectively in Salit, Bangladesh would be used to boost the defence to face the challenges in AFF.
Because we have preparation only 6 days, I mean, for me, is more first is how the game fitness in with the Bangladesh team at the first game. The second game, maybe I see more on tactical. I know my weakness in before I go into Bangladesh. I know my weakness in the defense line. I hope I will change some of the players to try whether they can play in AFF.
In line with that, national women's squad captain Steffi Sargekar Surgeon Singh said that the 2 friendly matches against Bangladesh would be a gauge on the squad's performance for the AFF competition. The national women's squad will start the AFF campaign in Manila against Singapore on 4th July, Indonesia 6th July, Philippines 8th July, Thailand 10th July and Australia 12th July, while the semi-finals are scheduled for 15th July and followed by the final on 17th July. The luckiest participant to card a hole-in-one at the 4th Tourism Selangor Golf Tournament scheduled on 23rd July, set to drive home a brand new Perodua Ativa. Tourism Selangor Sdn Bhd Chief Executive Officer Azrul Shah Muhammad believes the grand prize would be the major attraction for the tournament to be held in Sri Selangor Golf Club KGSS. He said about 120 golfers are expected to participate this year, including representatives from the public and private sectors, well-known golfers, celebrities, as well as golfers who live abroad and players from across the country, with the participation fee set at 499 ringgit.
I think for your information, 120 players, the numbers is increasingly being requested. We cannot cater lots of players, only one series. Are we planning for next year to do at least 2 or 3 series?
Speaking at a press conference in Petaling Jaya, Azrul added that the golfers also have a chance to win lucrative prizes in a lucky draw session held during the event. He said the tournament is also a way to show support to the Petaling Jaya City Council MBPJ, which is celebrating its 16th anniversary this year. That's it from us. Wrapping up updates at noon with a reminder of our top story. Tourism Recovery Framework aims over 11 billion ringgit of income. Tune in to news at 10, coming up at 10 p.m. on My Freeview Saluran Berita RTM. Thank you for your company. I'm Runia Fong. Stay tuned to TV2 and have a pleasant afternoon.